Hi, this is Kat. I recently joined the Usborne independent consulting team. So I'm the crazy book lady now. Not that I wasn't before, but now it's my official title. So I just got my independent consultant kit. I chose the bigger one because I can't help myself when it comes to books. So I got it in the mail yesterday. Let's open it and see what's it about. Thoroughly packed. Pretty heavy. Okay. Ooh. It's my packing list. Amazing. Okay, I don't think this is my consultant kit at all. I think this was... Oh, this is, my friend had a red hot sale party for books. Anyways, so, yeah. These are the ones that I picked. I love this. This is better. Okay, so I got illustrated stories from Dickens. And it's got Oliver Twist, Bleak House, Great Expectations, A Tale of Two Cities, and David Copperfield. So it says wonderfully retold. So, okay, so I'm normally not a fan of books that are abridged because I think the small details that abridged version leaves out, I think those are the important ones. Those are the ones that help to illustrate my brain map of the book and the story. So, but I also have to be somewhat realistic as to what I'm going to read to my kids, and the abridged version would probably be the best. So, I got this. It says illustrated, so there's some of the illustrations, which is perfect because it'll help to keep their attention. And the letters are a good font. They're a great size. I'm excited for this because we have 6 months where I have to figure out what to do with my kids. Okay, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, because my son really doesn't know when to say when. Tries help for everything, even though he's totally capable. He's the strongest, smartest 7-year-old named Hadrian that I know. Okay, The Princess and the Pea, because I got one of those too. Fairy Gardens Magic Painting Book. So I ordered this one before I tried to do another one of the magic painting books with my daughter, and her favorite thing is to just pour the entire cup of water on the page and then just walk away. So maybe I'll have patience to sit with her, because you know I was trying to wrap presents and whatnot, so I wasn't paying 1,000% of my attention. She didn't get all of that. So okay, step by step drawing animals. This is perfect because my son, who has never been interested in drawing at all, hates coloring, hates painting, has now decided that he's gonna draw things, which is cool. So there's how to draw a squid, and it gives him like a little practice area. There's how to draw a vulture. So what else have we got in here? How to draw a meerkat. These are pretty cute. So starts off with a fox and an otter, a rat, a goat, raccoon, chipmunk. It's gonna be good. Lift the flap, questions and answers about art. So if you are one of my normal Facebook friends, you know that I have attempted to homeschool a couple times. One, because we were in Korea and we weren't invited by the military, so we just kind of had to wing it because we were going to go anyways. So questions and answer about art. Art is one of the things that I'm crafty. I'm not artsy. I can't paint. I can't draw. So it goes over the basics about what a primary color is. What's this a painting of? A cube? What is art? What's the point of art? What's the different kinds of art? Of course, you can't see any of the stuff that I just talked about. Why are there so many paintings of nude people? That is a great question. I'm just gonna look at that right now. Ancient gods, goddesses, and heroes were painted nude to show how perfect their bodies were. Nowadays, many artists draw nude people as part of their training. It's called life drawing, and it helps artists learn how to draw the human body more accurately. I like that. So one of the biggest things that I love about Usborne books is that they don't have any like silly off-the-cuff answers. They're really thoughtful as to what their audience is. They don't make it silly. Yeah. So who painted with egg yolk? Let's check that one out. Thousands of artists in the past. Okay, who has this color named after him? That is an unfortunate color I've seen in a couple diapers. An Italian artist named Titian, who lived 500 years ago. Titian red is a reddish brown based on the hair color of the women in Titian's paintings. So I love this because I take a lot of my crafty and artistic knowledge for granted, but I always forget that my kids don't have any of that instilled in them. So I'm excited about this one. Okay, so see inside where food comes from. I'm gonna move that. Okay, so this is one that I kind of hemmed and hawed about getting, because my kids don't really ask questions about food. It's just part of our normal open conversation, like, hey, this is why there's honeybees, and this is what they do, and this is how you get it, and that's why it's so delicious on biscuits with butter, which comes from cows. Hey, let's make some butter. That's just kind of like the natural progression of how conversations in our house work. So it talks about the things you eat, like freshly squeezed orange juice, the fish. Is it a fishmonger? I think it's a fishmonger. Which I love the ending monger added to anything. I feel like that's maybe an appropriate thing. So yeah, they talk about what people eat most. So there's rice, grains. I wish that they would talk about how insects are a common food for a lot of the world, like eating crickets. It's a real thing. They're making cricket flour for people that have gluten intolerances, plus it's super high in protein. So I don't know if they talk about that, but you know, kids, bugs, it's all cool to me, but some people get freaked out about it. Okay, inside and out, they talk about greenhouses, gardens, food from the farm. A shepherd uses a dog to herd sheep into a pen, and the sheep are about to be sheared, which is an important thing for sheep. So there's a ton of companies right now. Duluth Trading Company and Lucky Brand are both having like big weird advertisements against non-animal fleece, which is recycled plastic bottles, which is cool, but they're trying to use it as a stance to be against animal abuse, which is sheep need to be sheared. They have to. It's a health thing. It's, yeah. So food from the sea. Almost half the fish and seafood we eat is farmed in enclosed tanks, and this is known as aquaculture. So that's cool. And then it's also a flap. This is baby cod called larvae hatched from eggs in tanks. Larvae are left to grow for 6 months and then loaded into trucks and released into big tanks into the sea. They're fed and looked after for 2 to 3 years until they're fully grown, and they're caught and killed. So, and if it's cod, it's probably fish and chips. I'll take it. Around the world. So then there's a ton of flaps for all around the world. Olive trees grow in hot, dry conditions in Spain, Italy, and Greece. They also grew on the tiny island of Terceira that I lived in the Azores. What have they got? China grows nearly a third of the world's peanuts. And peanuts are the seeds of the peanut plants, which grow in pods under the ground. I didn't know that until we lived in Terceira and my landlord grew peanuts. I thought I was pretty smart until I saw that peanuts came out of the ground. Fascinating food facts. So they talk about bees, and oh, here we go. There are over 1,400 different types of edible insects. In Asia and South America, fried crickets and scorpions are very popular. when we were in Korea, my son is a super adventurous eater, and I'm very proud of him for that. We tried silkworm pupas. And it's a very distinct smell. If you're walking around a market, you can hunt them out with your nose. So they taste like water that has had a tea of gym socks and a little bit of salt in them. So not my favorite. I would probably eat them again because it wasn't totally offensive. The weirdest thing about them was that you can see their little caterpillar arms and their little faces. That was hard. Okay, Make Buildings, a doodle design activity book. So architecture is not my forte, and it's also not one of the things like, I don't know, Baroque from all the different kinds of pillars, the Doric columns, I don't know. So it says, ahoy there, you're a pirate back on dry land. Draw a perfect pirate mansion or walk the plank. So you gotta make that. Deep under the ocean is an ancient ruined city. Who or what lives down there now? So this will be fun. You know, just trying to spark my son's artistic capabilities. What's inside this igloo has a bedroom and a living room and a hot tub. That sounds like a dangerous thing for an igloo, but you know, over 45 activities, strong color, so that's cool. What a squeeze. Can you fit buildings into these narrow spaces? Try it. Edinburgh, Scotland, one of my favorite places on the planet. Tiny, tiny, but really tall houses. Okay, lift the flag periodic table. I'm not gonna lie, I got this for myself. The kids will obviously benefit from it one day, but they're 7 and 3. I had to ask her the other day how old she was, because after the first one, I just don't even know. Like, I know I have 2 kids, don't know how old she is. So, periodic table that talks about diamond is entirely made of carbon. Oh, that's a new flap. Lots of jewelry is made entirely of silver. My husband deals with emergency management stuff, and so he's like the guy walking around in a hazmat suit. So he deals with all sorts of radioactive materials. So I kind of got this as like this is what your dad does, and this is what he deals with. So it talks about hard, shiny metals. Up in the corner, there's like the category that we're talking about. Soft, dull metals, like antimony, copper, lead, tin. Copper is my favorite metal on the planet. It's beautiful. The elements of life. So that would include hydrogen, oxygen, carbon. What else have we got on there? Lots of oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen. Phosphorus is a crucial part of the DNA, the chemical code that builds living things. So my son, anytime because he's also learning to read right now, anytime he sees the letters DNA, he says, oh, I know about DNA. So deoxyribonucleic acid has become a vocabulary word in our house. Solids, liquids, and gases. So that's cool. Neon gas is super neat to me. I love neon signs. It's about the only draw to Vegas for me. I would just like to see it at night, just drive on through. Danger, radioactive elements. This whole crease right here is just gonna be destroyed in a couple years, because this is what's gonna hang out on our table, just strewn about. Okay, so curium, actinium, I like it. And they've got these little guys that are hanging out together. Da-da-da-da-da. I love it. Okay, I'm happy I got that one. See Inside World Religions. Okay. I got this book because, so we're a military family, so we're surrounded by mostly Christian and Catholic believers. It's cool. I was raised around those. But I also saw a lot of turmoil that was about people's faith growing up, and so I myself am on the fence between atheist and agnostic. I know that's a weird combination, but I am constantly trying to teach my kids that there's always something else. And so my son has come up with lots of questions about death recently and what happens. And it's very, it's not black and white in this house. It's like, well, it depends on what you believe. Some people believe this and some people believe that. So where does the world come from? Some people believe there's no such thing as a God. Where do religions get their rules? Why is there so much dressing up? Is one religion better than another? Some questions have many answers. What's the biggest religion? What is God like? Can I choose my religion? And it shows about religious communities and their designated buildings all around the world. So, Buddhism, Sikhism, Hinduism. Wait. Okay. So one of the religions that I think is really interesting right now is the one going on in North Korea. I forget what the name of it, but it's interesting. Gods and goddesses. There we go. Ta-da, ta-da-ta. Christians believe that God exists as 3 distinct identities. One of these is Jesus Christ, a human being. Islam, Judaism, and Sikhism describe one true God. There's many Hindus focus their worship on one of 3 great gods, Vishnu, Shiva, and Brahma. Worship and prayer. Talk about long horns that are used. Like, not Longhorns the cow, like these ones, but long, like, horns. Let's see if it talks about that. Playing music is a major part of worship around the world, an expression of devotion to God or to a shared idol. So, and then it's got, I believe that's Arabic. I love the way Arabic looks. It talks about the black box, Mecca, the mosque in Mecca. So that's festivals and celebrations. I love the idea of these mandalas. Sorry, the light above me. The pinwheels, the dressed up elephants. So stories from world religions. So there's the story of the Great Flood and Noah. But I believe there's a story called the Epic of Gilgamesh that also talks about a great flood. So it's not just like a single religion story. It's a part of the history of the world that there was this great flood, and it's been acknowledged by many communities. Cultures, death and beyond. There we go. And there's another one that's gonna have a big old crack in the crease because we're just gonna use it so much. We've got a lot of family members, so there's a lot of deaths. My husband has not had so many in his family yet. Recently, his grandmother in Korea passed away, and that was hard. But it was also an interesting look at how a traditional Korean funeral is held. And I am grateful that his cousins and aunts and uncle sent videos and pictures so that we could see that and explain it to our kids. Because we just spent a year there with everybody, visiting all the time. And now Harmony's gone. And I don't know what the family's gonna do without her. She was the glue that held everybody together. So, the river. An epic journey to the sea. So there's a, I don't know how that's gonna work. Anyways, whatever those wiggly things, pictures are that have kind of wavy plastic on them. Snow-capped mountains among the firs, the north wind blows, something stirs. Oh, I love that this rhymes. Through icy water, a small fish darts. This is where her journey starts. The river sparkles under a sunlit sky. Overhead, white snow geese fly. Okay, I love this. I love that it's about a river, it's about a fish. It goes through. The moon shines down, the whole world sleeps. Below, the little fish dives and leaps. An owl hoots softly. Hoo-hoo. Branches sway. The fish continues on her way. Okay, so that one didn't say hoo-hoo, but anytime there's animals in books, we make animal noises. The day grows longer, the air is still, the fish swims on and on until the river has become a sea. There's copper. Do you see the fish? Shimmering, shining. Look at that. Ooh, you can even see him jumping in the middle. Okay, yep, I love it. This is where she's meant to be on this page right here. Me with them, with the copper fish. And then there's the back. Cool, I love it. This is one that I don't think gets a whole lot of love. It might just be because it's new. I don't think so. But you know, you always hear about the informative nonfiction books, which are incredible, but I need to branch out and start doing these wonderful type books. So how deep is the sea? This is a hard one. I really wanted to like do the how many stars in the sky, or like how much is a billion or whatever. So how deep is the sea? Since we have been surrounded by the sea for a long, long time, I decided to get this one instead of the stars, which will probably be my next one. So Pipkin was a very small penguin who was always asking very big questions. How big is a dinosaur? Does chocolate grow on trees? What makes snow fall from the sky? But the thing he wanted to know most of all was, how deep is the sea? Okay, penguins are really good swimmers, said his mama. Why don't you go and have a look? Pipkin took a very deep breath and dived into the sea. Okay, so he meets things, creatures along the way. Ooh, the yellow submarine. Cool, and the submarine took him down and down and down and down. My kids watch a lot of Octonauts. Whenever I get sick, that's what I stick on, Octonauts or the Kratz Brothers. So they've heard a lot about the Midnight Zone. Ooh, this one has a flap. How deep is the sea? Okay, the sea is deeper in some places than in others because the seafloor isn't flat. Da, 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 da. Oh God. Oh God. Okay. I would say that's probably about 4 feet long. Okay. Sunny surface parts of the sea reaches down to 200 meters, which is 656 feet. I wonder if it's exactly 200 meters. Because that would be interesting. Okay. This part of the sea is called the Twilight Zone because only a tiny bit of sunlight reaches this far. And that is from 200 meters to 1,000 meters. Strange glowing creatures live down here. Ooh, we talk about bioluminescence a lot. The more that I talk about these books, the more weird I think I sound. It's fine. It's fine. I've got green hair. I'm allowed to be weird. Fewer people have been down here than have been into space. That's 700 meters. So that's about 4.5 miles. 7 miles down, there might be lots of creatures living down here that nobody has ever seen. Cool. I like that there's that big, long thing. I see that getting kind of torn up in my house because it's just kind of come out of this little pocket a lot. All right. There's more. I'm 24 minutes into this, and there's so much more. Okay. Red, yellow, blue. Paint me a picture. Colorful book of art inspiration. See, I told you I was trying to get Adrian more interested. Ooh, yellow. Paint me some sunshine to make the flowers grow. Paint me some red balloons tied up with a bow. 99 of them, please. Paint me the blue sea to sail on far and wide. Paint me some white stars to help light my way. Paint me some orange leaves to tumble in and play. So it also, in here, it talks about the feeling that the colors give you. So enthusiastic, warm, cheerful, confident. So I like that it has like the meaning and the correspondence to the colors and the feelings. Paint me some green hills for our favorite place. Gentle, healthy, natural, harmonious. See, there's lots of feel-goods. But I feel like they should, like, green with envy. I feel like that would be an adequate thing to put in there. Okay, cool. Too many tomatoes. Can't grow a tomato fruit to save my life. I can grow tomato plants all day long. They get really, really tall, super leggy. Can't grow a tomato on it. Okay, so this one, I think, grandfather's garden is popping with peas. It's buzzing with blossom and bumblebee bees. It's bursting with berries and beans and potatoes and tall twining vines of too many tomatoes. So I had a lot of Jack Perletsky poems read to me when I was little, so that's just kind of the natural cadence of how I read poems. So I'm glad it fit with that, because otherwise I get kind of stumped as to how to read it. Down to the sidewalk and down to the street, drippy and slippery, juicy and sweet, red ones and yellow ones, shiny and round, jumbling, tumbling over the ground. So it is the very end of December here in Okinawa, Japan, and it's tomato season. So well, not season. It's time to plant the gardens, because everywhere else around the world, like back home in Washington, it's too hot to plant, to have anything grow in the late summer. But here it's just finally cool enough to be a reasonable temperature to start seeds. So like there's no frost, there's nothing here, but it's hot, hot. Today is 59 degrees. It's the coldest day I've seen. So I'll take it as soon as my video is done. All my balcony windows are gonna be open. It's raining outside. It kind of feels like home. I'm excited about it. Okay. Usborne Around the World Mazes. Hadrian is incredible at mazes, so I had to get him a maze book. I hope Amelia likes all of the same stuff, because I keep things forever. Alright, surfing in the sun, the Hawaiian surfs up and Will's ready to ride some waves. Find him a clear path from the seaside shack across a busy beach to the ocean. So I like how it's not a clear cut, like follow these lines and go around the right angles. I like that. All right. Barcelona blading. Help Roger rollerblade along the shortest route between the Barcelona buildings to visit the Sagrada Familia Church. I've been there and it's amazing, but there are so many people that are also there at the same time. Arctic Rescue, let's check this out. Tour the Fjords. Fjords. Settled on that one. Director's Detour, sowing seeds. It's got to plant the rice paddies. I love this, because when you look in, there's little creatures and birds. Amazon Adventure. Andean Expedition, African City Circuit. Oh, and then in the back, they are the answers. Which, of course, is going to be the first place that Hadrian looks. So, okay, so 2 more bucks. I've got the Usborne Illustrated Classics with Huck Finn, Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Kidnapped, King Solomon's Mines, White Fang, and Phantom of the Opera. And they're illustrated. So this wasn't my first choice, to be honest, but the day that I placed my order, The one that I originally wanted was discontinued. That's not the right. We're out of print. It's the word for books. Out of print. But I mean, Huck Finn would probably be a good one for Hadrian. Wouldn't have a yard for him to Huck Finn around in, but whatever. Okay, so illustrated stories from Shakespeare. I said the other one was Shakespeare. It's this one. Same thing. Same thing about abridged and retold stories. It's like I'm not gonna get around to reading The Twelfth Night, A Midsummer's Night Dream, Hamlet, Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet, and The Tempest to Hadrian. So let's take the shortcut. That way he knows about them. But I'm especially terrible with the cadence of Shakespeare's stories. So, yeah. Although living in England for a couple years helped a bit with that. I was a bit out of my depth with, you know, the everyday person on the streets knowledge of Shakespeare versus my own, because we didn't do any of that in school. Like, you could, everybody knows who Shakespeare is, but it's not anything that we ever talked about really in depth. I feel like there were some references made to Macbeth, but most people, including myself, didn't get them. So I'm gonna try and remedy that for my kids. So yeah, okay. So I got a ton of books. I'm excited about all of them. So that was my book haul. So thank you for my books. I believe, I don't remember who I got these books from. Thanks. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I hope this sparks some of your interest in other Usborne books. They're great. We love them more than I started out to intentionally love them. But you know, this is how what I've chosen to do, I guess. Or maybe it chose me. Okay, thanks for watching. See you next time.